Okay, pause. This is a Masonic tracing board so that you will be able to spot Freemasonry. Checkered floor, archways, archways, sun motif in the top beaming down onto an altar. Look at this shot. Sun motif beaming down onto an altar. This is basically Freemasonry stamping this, saying we own this thing. Here's the Kodak Theater. Do you notice the checkered floor? Do you notice the archway? Do you notice the sun motif and the lighting system in the top? Once again, they are saying, we own this thing. This is actually the gate here that you go into the Kodak Theater. This is called the Gate of Ishtar. In fact, if you go to Hollywood and you go there, they'll hand you a little map right there, and it'll say, this is the gate to Babylon. This is the Babylonian court. This is Isis. This is Horus. This is all sun worship. And in fact, I used to, when I lived in Hollywood, I used to live right here in this building right here. So I watched this whole thing being built. Of course, I didn't know any of this until I started studying it later. But even the things that we watch, you don't recognize everything that's there. Where did sun worship start? Does anybody remember? Way back in Babylon. Remember the story of how Nimrod, when he died, he believed that, or everybody else believed that he went into the stars, and this is where we get our first recordings of star worship and sun worship and things, is from Nimrod back in Babylon. But you know what? It actually started before that. In Revelation 12:4, it says, and his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to earth. Whose tail drew a third part of the stars? Satan. So who are stars? The angels. So angels that are cast down to earth, called stars, are now fallen stars. Do we still worship the stars today? How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Thou art cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into the heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. This idea of being more famous than God started with Lucifer. But now he's repackaged this and put it back into human form, because we have stars today that are still being worshipped. Basketball stars, football stars, baseball stars. People worship these people as if they are gods. Even Kermit the Frog gets his little star. He's not even real. So in 1 Timothy 4:1 it says, now the Spirit speaketh expressly, that in later times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. You know, I was raised a very strict Seventh-day Adventist home. I read my Bible all the time when I was a kid. I've probably read the thing forwards and backwards a few times before I even got into high school. So how is it that when I left college and I got into the real world, how is it that I left everything so quickly? I got down to Hollywood within months. I stopped going to church. I stopped reading my Bible. I stopped talking to my family. And I got just deep involved in this world. How is that possible? How are celebrities so attractive that they attract the world to follow them? This might give you a little bit of insight behind the masks of the celebrities.
So many of Hollywood's most famous actors and actresses able to be so amazingly effective and convincing in their performances.
That guy was so electrifying that it came through the television.
How is it that they can move us to laughter, tears, or anger at the drop of a hat? Are they truly gifted with natural talent, as many suggest?
You see this and you're dazzled by their talent.
Do they possess a creative streak of genius that is unknown to most men? Or unknown to most men, are they in fact possessed? Is it possible that these actors and actresses are possessed by demonic spirits who have a specific agenda to fulfill? Oscar award-winning actor Denzel Washington told 60 Minutes exactly how he brings forth his best performances.
Basically what I did was got on my knees and sort of communicated with the spirits. And when I came out, I was in charge.
Powerful scene.
Powerful scene. I couldn't have acted that. I couldn't have written that down and made a decision to play that.
What, are you gonna smoke that?
Nope, you are.
Hell if I am.
Yeah. You're Jesus freak. You're Jesus freak.
The one-woman entertainment empire known as Oprah has strong affiliations with the demonic realm. The most familiar face on television says,
"You can not only use your body and physical self. This is how I see acting. I ask my body to be the carrier for the spirits of those who have come before me in a way that is most meaningful to the character. Just become the vehicle for that character."
calling out for these entities to take her over so that she may become a sparkling puppet. Oprah admits of her work before the camera.
I tried to empty myself and let the spirit inhabit me.
With her global influence, her shows have become a smorgasbord for the New Age agenda.
A lot of actors who don't mention their names, of course, are very much into this.
Magic only exists if you allow it, if you open yourself up to the possibility.
So that clip with Denzel Washington, he was talking about that movie Glory, and he was basically telling him that, he was asking him, how did you do such a brilliant job? Well, I got on my hands and knees and prayed to the spirits of the dead slaves. And what do we know about the state of the dead? If you are doing that, then those aren't souls coming into you from the past. It started a long, long time ago. Aleister Crowley, one of the most evil men in our 20th century, this guy was probably the tippy top of the occult world, if you will. He wanted to be Satan's right-hand man. And if you read into a lot of screenwriters where they got ideas from, a lot of people are into Aleister Crowley's writings. A lot of celebrities follow him. Music is written after him. V for Vendetta, the movie lines were taken directly from this guy's writings. In fact, the Beatles here, they have him on his album cover right here. So the Beatles were very, very influenced with him. This guy, Aleister Crowley, he started a place where you could basically do whatever you wanted to do, whether it be bestiality or whatever, and he called it the Abbey Road, and the Beatles named their album after that. So that's where they got the idea for Abbey Road. Anyway, Aleister Crowley wrote a book called Magic in Practice and Theory, where he outlined 3 of the best ways that you could become possessed by an evil spirit. And I find this very fascinating. One of the 3 good ways is there are 3 main methods of invoking a deity. The third method is the dramatic, perhaps the most attractive at all. Certainly it is so to the artist's temperament, for it appeals to their imagination through his aesthetic sense. So he's basically saying by acting is the best way to invite a spirit in. What does Socrates say on acting? In like manner, the muse, first of all, inspires men herself. The muse is that person that actors all believe that is the spark inside of them. Because they are inspired and possessed. They are simply inspired to utter which the muse impels them. For not by art or by knowledge do you say what you say, but by possession. I find what he has to say here very interesting. Because in a weird, twisted way, he actually has a lot of truth to this. Think back when Christ cast out the demon out of the man, and the demon went out and he got 7 other demons and he came back. Okay? Think about, did that man ask for the demons to come in? Did they knock on his door and say, "Excuse me, can we come into your life?" No, they just came in. So basically, going off of what Socrates has to say, you can either be filled with God or filled with the devil. If you are not allowing the Holy Spirit and allowing God to come into your life and to fulfill that space,